there's one. Hello, welcome back. Today we're going to be headed up to the Rocky River Reservation. We're going to be fishing for steelhead trout. Now the water temperature's been elevated and close to 70s last couple days. The water level is pretty low and a lot of the trout have been heading back to Lake Erie. So I don't know if there's going to be many up there, but if there are, today would be the day to get them. The water temperature dropped a little bit, it's cooler, overcast. It's going to be in the 50s today, it was a little bit cooler yesterday. So hopefully we can get on a few. But if there aren't any, I have a backup plan, taking my other rod and some tubes, and we'll see if maybe we can get some smallmouth on it. So stay tuned, and I'll see you at the river. I see a few here in this run. Toss some flies at them for a while, see if we get anything. Up. It's a good size here. Ooh. Good female. Gosh, I love these fish. She took the nymph. When the water's warming up this much, you gotta try and get these fish landed as fast as possible so that you don't put too much stress on them here. It's also rather difficult with this long of a fly rod here and only one person. Ooh. Oh, that's a pretty fish. If I can work her into the shallows over here, I can get behind her. Come here, girl. Got the line here. And we got the trout. Okay. Fly rods are fine in the water. Always wet your hands before handling a trout. Pop the hook out. Real easy. There she goes. Gorgeous trout. Beautiful fish. See if we can get some more. Now that trout, that big female, came on this little nymph right here. Tiny little, oops, tiny little beadhead nymph. That's all it took for that big fish. I've got it on about, I don't know, 2-foot leader here, tippet material, hooked up to a white woolly bugger. I'm using 10-pound fluoro for my tippet material and a 9-foot tapered leader, weight forward leader for the rest of it. So there's a few more in this hole. Let's see if we can get a couple more before we head to the next spot. Give you an idea of what I'm doing. I don't have any floats on here. I'm just slinging these 2 flies with a tiny, tiny split shot on it, just to get it down into the water column where they're feeding. Not a very fast current through here today, so I can get away with a very light split shot, and they just can't see it. Fluorocarbon's virtually invisible to these fish. Is all you do. Just toss it in front of them, let it drift past their face. With enough patience and the right presentation, eventually you get a take. And there's about 4 of them right here in this little run, right in the deep trough. I see them opening their mouths, feeding on stuff passing. So now, all I have to do is hit the right drift, put it right in front of their face, and hopefully they munch on it. Just making slight mends to the line as we drift down. Watching my white streamer in the water as an indicator because it's so clear. I can see it. And if I lose track of that, I watch the line. As soon as the fly line stops, you know, you're either on a rock or in a fish's mouth. So you do what we like to call a set to check, where you set the hook and you check to see if it's a fish. If it's a rock, it'll come out. If it's a fish, you didn't miss it. So. There's one. Just like that. That's all it takes. You know the fish is there. You know they're munching. Just gotta have patience and the right drift. Another good female here. She tired out real fast. Get the line here. I have to try a real fast release. Oh, well, that's as fast a release as you're gonna get, I guess. Popped herself off. Make sure she gets her breath. You gonna be okay, girl? Yeah, she'll be fine. Right between the legs. And back to her friends. Please tell them that this is still okay to eat. There we go. Knew there were more in here. It's been about an hour since I got my last bite. They went and found a nice little deep spot in the water. Get out of that cabbage. Took the nymph, this one. Come on. Come over here into the shallows. That's a good trout. That's a good trout. Come here. Put my rod on this rock here. Oh, no, he popped off. Oh, he snapped off. Curses. That's the dangers of grabbing the line. Dang. Got another one. Hooked up. Well, it's been a little interesting since the last update. I've moved spots, broke my fly rod, switched over to the bait caster, and now I have a really nice smallmouth. About to get a weight on her, see what she's at. And the official weight on this smallmouth, close to 2.5 pounds, 2 pounds, 2.4 pounds. So, not sure how much you're gonna hear. That waterfall is really loud. Let's go get a release on her though. There we go. And just for reference, we'll get a weight on this because I didn't zero it with the grippers on here. So these weigh 0.24 pounds on there. So that was around a 2-pound fish. So today was kind of all over the place. I know at one moment we're at one spot on the river, we're catching fish. The next, no real explanation, we're catching smallmouth. So what happened in the time in between is I stopped catching fish out of that one hole. So I decided I was going to drive a little bit farther up the river to another hole that I know of and try the fly rod. But I didn't know if there were any trout there. I didn't take the GoPro. And lo and behold, there are some good trout in there. And I hook up on one, and it's a nice size male. Not huge, but a good size. And there's a bit of a rock ledge. So what happened was I'm trying to lift up this fish and get it with the net, and I put a little bit too much pressure on my fly rod, and the very last section, the very tip, just snapped right in half. So it's pretty much shot now. There's no way I can really fix it because it broke right in an eyelet, and I'll just get a new one. It was really a cheaper set when I bought it originally, this fly set. I think it was $80 on Amazon. And it came with flies, the reel line, everything. I knew that it was going to be a cheaper set. I've never done fly fishing before when I ordered it. This was back in high school, so a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. And I was a little bit hesitant when I first got it because I had no idea if I'd like fly fishing, but it's one of those things, you see it, there's something mesmerizing about the casting action of fly fishing. So I knew it was something I wanted to try. And I really enjoy it, and now that I know that I really enjoy it, I'll get a new one. I get a nice fancier one. I really don't feel bad about it because I'm happy that the cheap rod and combo that I got, it lasted a pretty good amount of time considering that it was on the cheaper side and I was catching steelhead, big steelhead with it, which are a little bit harder on the rods anyway. So after the rod broke, I had to go and switch over to my other rod, and I put on a tube. And I was fishing the same hole, trying to get some steelhead on there, because I know, not very often, but you can get some steelhead on tubes. And the smallmouth have started running, so we'll try and get the smallmouth too. And we hooked up on that real nice one, it was 2 pounds. So, real good smallmouth, caught one other one, and then from there, they just kind of ended. The fish stopped biting, there was nothing more to do. Met my girlfriend for some ice cream, and called it a day. But overall, it was a fantastic day. A lot of fish were caught. Excellent weather for it. And overall, a really good experience. I'm happy I could take everyone along with me. And I will catch you on the next video.